Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling a really profound text, the book of Hebrews.
Absolutely. It's a fascinating one.
Our goal here is to unpack not just what it says, but really why it was written, its unique message, and crucially, why it still matters so much for understanding faith today.
Mm-hmm.
We're using insights from a YouTube meditation by Alion on the first couple of chapters, Hebrews 1 and 2.
A great starting point.
So let's explore this. What does this book, sometimes called the fifth gospel? What does it really tell us about faith and maybe our connection to something bigger?
Yeah, that's the core question.
Okay, so let's dive right in. Why Hebrews? What was happening back then? What was the context for the original listeners?
Well, this deep dive really points out that Hebrews was aimed at a specific group, people who were wrestling with a big decision.
Oh.
Yeah, they were considering returning from a life of faith to a religious life. So the book's purpose was really to help them understand God's new covenant.
And agreement.
Exactly. This idea that salvation comes through God's grace, fulfilled in Jesus Christ.
Okay.
And what's really striking is the contrast it sets up. You've got Christianity based on faith, on grace,
Right.
versus the Judaism of the time, which, according to the source, emphasized adhering to the law, doing good deeds.
So a different focus.
A very different focus. The text suggests going back meant getting caught up in religious activity centered around a religious building, a kind of legalism.
Legalism.
Yeah.
Meaning focusing on the rules over the relationship.
Precisely. That kind of outward activity, it implies, misses the heart of God's grace. Almost like, the golden calf story focusing on the symbol instead of God himself.
Yeah, that really puts it into perspective. Now, the source calls Hebrews an apologetic sermon. That sounds quite formal. It defends Jesus using the Old Testament. How does it actually do that?
Yeah, apologetic just means a reasoned defense, and Hebrews does this brilliantly. The writer systematically takes figures the Jewish readers deeply respected from the Old Testament and shows how Jesus is superior. For example, Melchizedek.
Melchizedek, right. He's a bit mysterious in
It's
Genesis.
very mysterious. A priest King Abraham gave tithes to, and Hebrews describes him as having no father, no mother, no genealogy, no beginning, no end of life, like the Son of God.
Wow, okay.
And it says Jesus comes in the order of Melchizedek, meaning his priesthood is on a whole different level, far superior to the traditional Levitical priesthood they knew.
So superior to the priests. What about angels? You mentioned the comparison is important too.
Yes, absolutely crucial. This meditation highlights that point strongly. Why emphasize Jesus over angels?
Yeah, why?
Because, the source tells us, some Jews back then saw angels as, the primary messengers from God. Some even apparently worshipped angels.
Really? Worship them.
Seems so. But Hebrews draws a sharp line. It says, God never called an angel my son. Never.
That's definitive.
It is. Angels are sent to serve the Son of God. It's clarifying Jesus' unique divine identity. Super important for people tempted to look elsewhere, maybe elevate other beings.
Got it. So Jesus is superior to the old priesthood, superior to angels.
Yeah.
What's the big takeaway then for understanding God's message overall? How does it all fit together?
Well, Hebrews basically declares a major shift. It says, look, God long ago spoke to our ancestors in many and various ways by the prophets.
Yeah, the prophets, yeah.
But now, in these last days, spoken to us by a son. The final word, in a sense.
The ultimate communication.
Exactly. The source even brings up Jesus' own parable, the vineyard owner who sends servants, then finally sends his beloved son. That's the picture Hebrews paints.
Okay, I see the connection.
So linking this all up, the text is really asserting that Jesus represents the completion of revelation. God's message is fully delivered in him.
Completion. So what does that imply for today?
The insight here is pretty profound. If God's ultimate word is Jesus, then constantly seeking other revelations or prophecies these days, it might actually be missing the point.
Because the fullness is already here.
Right. It suggests God's will is completed and finalized in his son, Jesus Christ. The message is sufficient.
That definitely gives us something to think about. So for you listening, this deep dive into Hebrews kind of throws down a challenge, doesn't it?
It really was.
Are we maybe like some of those early believers, constantly leaning towards a religious life? Focusing on the externals, the rules, our own efforts.
Or even using faith as a kind of religious tool just to get what we want. That's another angle the source raises.
Yeah. And the ultimate question it leaves us with is, when we think about faith, do we just see the rituals? Or maybe even just stop at Jesus on the cross as an event?
Or Do we push deeper? Do we try to connect with the true heart of God the Father, who is the subject who sent his Son, understanding the why behind it all?
Because, as this deep dive suggests, without really grasping God's heart, faith can potentially slide into just superstitious practice. Or maybe just self-comfort.
Mm-hmm. It's a call to trust God's actual will, his love, even if no evidence is seen right away. To shift from being a seeker of proof.
To becoming a witness. That's powerful. Definitely something to mull over, figuring out where true faith really rests for you.